All right, all right. Welcome everybody to Gogotalx, brought to you by GOGOTIX. I'm your host Malachi Johns, as always, and today we are joined by my good friend, Mr. David 32 Ellis Sr. How are you, sir?
I'm outstanding. How you doing? Chuggy
Um,
buddy.
there he is, light skin. There you go. You
Yeah.
are you are probably the person that has given me the most nicknames of anybody in GoGo.
Well, I'm a nickname maker, man. There's a lot of guys out there that they got their nicknames from me, man. Just having fun with them, having personal relationships, basketball court, softball, and you got to know when you got to hit, man. That's all.
Indeed, indeed. Well, why don't you tell everybody, as we do on this show, tell everybody how you started playing music and how you got into go-go and your entire history in the music industry.
Wow, the entire.
Yeah, man, that's what this is for, man. People want to hear that shit. They don't really know. There really isn't a way to hear it all at one time. So this is it.
Okay, so I started off, of course, in Southeast DC. I was 12 years old, and Shelton Watkins, which his name is Pop, may he rest in peace. He used to live a building down from me, and he played for Junkyard. And it used to be this tan van that used to come through every day to pick him up for practice. That had junk on the tags, and I remember me coming home from school one day, and he ran inside my building. And he ran inside my building, and he had a stack of money laying on the floor, but he didn't see me running in the floor. I mean, he didn't see me running in the building. So I went to reach for the money, of course, having him thinking, we youngers, we 12 and 11 and 13.
Right.
So when I went to grab the money, he came down the steps and said, "Man, give me my money." And then 30 minutes later, Dirk McCray, who was one of the managers at the time, picked him up for practice. And I used to always ask him to get me in the band, get me in the band. I want to be in the band. My mom said no 3 times. Then he finally had a conversation with her the 4th time, and she said, yeah.
How did you know you wanted to be in the band? Like, what made you even think that you could be in the band? Like, what?
Because Junkyard used to play down Bury Farms in the picnic area.
Yep.
It still exists right now today, which is right beside the Goodman League basketball courts.
Mm-hmm.
And we would go down there and watch the shows, and he just used to come around with all these stories. We had toy horns and tamarines, and he just sold me on, like, man, you sure you want to do this, man? We having fun, man. You gotta try to get in the band. You gotta try to get in the band. Mm-hmm. And Mom's finally said, yeah, man. And this was June 20th, 1985.
Oh wow, you remember the exact date?
Yeah, just turned 35 years. June just passed, June the 20th.
Wow. All right, so yeah, I remember when I went on a couple weeks ago, and he was mentioning Pop as a big part of the band, and there was somebody that was watching kept making sure I asked more questions, but Wink didn't have his Wi-Fi together, so the interview kept cutting out, so we didn't really get that much further into Pop and his involvement in the early days. But okay, so you got in the band.
So
how did that happen? Audition or what?
Yeah, it definitely was an audition. I passed the audition somewhat with Dirk. But Mo didn't want me. Mo was still the manager right today. Mm-hmm. Mo was like, "Nah, I don't think he right for the band. So Dirk kept selling them. Mo kept saying, "No, I don't want him. We need to find somebody else. So then a couple more rehearsals later, back then it was 22 steps, and they was all numbered. And now we do steps by signals. Back then they were numbers. So he would call number 19, You would call number 17, number 5, number 4, and you better be ready. So I wound up learning like 5 of the 6 steps in 1 week, which was good for a 12-year-old.
Right.
Considering it was 22, you know. So just think of a 12-year-old having an NFL playbook, you know, trying to learn that.
How old were the other guys in the band at the time?
I was the youngest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was the youngest. Besides, at the time I was the youngest, and then we got a keyboard player named Chung Young. He was down from the Anacostia area. I was older than him. Then when he got in the band, he was the youngest.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I wound up getting in the band. Everything went well. I used to always get my checks docked, my little per diems docked, because the band pictures that they took, I would never be facing the front. Because at that age, I couldn't be in front of, you know, I was starstruck. You know, I couldn't be in front of 200 and 300 people as a 12 or 13-year-old. That's something you have to get used to, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So Mo was trying to get rid of me again.
Do you know Lime Green, Greeny, that is the rapper for Project 360?
Yeah.
So I don't know if you know, but me and him were in my first go-go band together, and he didn't want me to be in the band either. We used to rehearse at his house, and he didn't want me in the band either because he didn't want a white guy in the band. And
wow.
so we got that in common. Mo didn't want you in the band, and Greeny didn't want me in the band.
Now look at you now.
I know, and he's one of my best friends now, which is funny.
Oh, okay. Do you still bring it up as in, man, you ain't want me in the band? Because
hell yeah, I give him shit about it all the time. I hope
every chance I get, every punchline I get, I bring up that Mo fired me twice. Every chance I get.
That's funny. All right, so you're getting docked, and then Mo doesn't want you. Did he fire you yet, or he fired you?
So back then, it used to be called strikes.
Yeah,
and strikes used to equal money.
Mm-hmm.
So at the end, if you were late for practice, if you messed up on stage or whatever, it'd be a strike. So if you have X amount of strikes, they'll multiply how much whatever the strikes from and deduct it from your money.
Mm-hmm.
If you get certain amount of strikes, you get put on suspension, and you can't play that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very strict, man. You had to have a 2.0 to stay in the band. It was like an extra curriculum, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I, as this time goes on, I start to get better and better and better. And then here comes sardines and pork and beans. We had a manager in New York named Perry that had a lot of connects. He would ride back and forth to DC to New York and Jersey and book us. We wound up getting signed with Def Jam. Wound up doing 3 shows at the Apollo with Salt and Pepper, Heavy D, Run DMC, the Beastly Boys, Fat Boys, because we all were label mates.
Yep.
I remember Footloose Rob that played the Buckets. He used to try to get Jam Master Jay to beat on the tables while we was backstage.
Mm-hmm.
And he would always do like this and then drop the stick and do like this because he's so used to the turntables.
Yeah, right.
So that was a learning experience. We wound up flying to Boston. Rick Rubin is the producer of Sardines and Pork and Beans, which that's the same guy that produced Jay-Z's 99 Problems, but ain't one hit me.
Oh, he's produced a whole lot more than that. Yeah, he's one of the most legendary producers of all time.
Absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. So that was an experience, but of course, I'm still going through all this. It's a process because right now I'm 14.
Right.
And I don't know no better, but the only thing I see is me being on stage, me getting on buses, and it was almost like flew to Boston and came on back down the East Coast, and it was crazy, man. Then I got into sports heavy, which you can see a lot of my trophies right there.
Behind
bowling, softballs, a lot of stuff in there. So I got into sports real heavy, and I used to be like a Kimbo Slice. Like, you know how Kimbo Slice used to go around and fight people?
Yep.
I used to go around and shoot people in 3-pointers for money. So I wound up breaking my ankle in practice. I mean, at the basketball court, I wound up breaking my ankle, and I failed English. And I had to go to summer school to get my diploma. So Junkyard put me on suspension until I graduated.
So real quick before I forget, I don't want to interrupt your story, but
no, you're fine.
You were getting docked. Stepping back a few steps, you were getting docked, which implies that you were getting paid. So from the very beginning of you joining the band, you were getting paid because, and I assume this was the Showmobile shows mostly, right?
Well, we used to play down 19th and M, which is a hotel right now, 19th and M Street Northwest on Friday nights. Until some nights we can play all night. Some nights the police would shut us down. And we used to do DuPont Circle Saturday afternoons. So what he did was we used to go bucket hunting because we had buckets there. Yeah. Big bucket. Oh, like I might be out the camera. So Dirk used to pass the bucket. And they would put donations in the bucket. That's how we would get paid.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
So tipping, which is now, I mean, it's a normal thing. And it's also like the next generation of how artists are getting paid right now, which is doing live streams and basically people are tipping online. So it's
basically commission.
Right.
Right. So we would take the money and break down. We would some weeks we would get paid in dollars. Sometimes we would get paid in quarters, nickels, dimes. We just broke it down.
Right. Right.
So I wound up breaking my ankle, and I got put on suspension until I graduated out of summer school. When I graduated out of summer school, I showed them my diploma. They told me they didn't want me anymore. So that's how Bruce got in the band.
Gotcha.
So when I got put on suspension, they got Bruce until I got back because all of us was in the male course together. Me, Bruce, Pratt, Hug, KC. We just were me and KC was I was in the 12th, he was in the 10th. Hug left, Hugs and Bugs left 2 years before me. Pratt was there. I was a freshman, he was a senior. So we all a few years older than each other, but we all went through the same male course with Mr. Mitchell, just different years.
Gotcha. Okay. So, why did they say they didn't want you back though? Do you know?
They chose it. Well, so
because you had been gone for so long, or
no? I was only gone for 3 months, but you got to remember, I was in the male course as a backup singer. Bruce was in the male course as a lead singer. Bruce came from the church,
right.
So of course his harmony was better than mine, so they chose to keep him.
Gotcha.
A month later, Hug knocked on my door. So when I graduated my senior year, I went to my prom. I met this girl named Trisha at one of the Capitol Center show, the G Street Express show, and she used to live in Glen Arden Apartments. Northeast had a pool party at Glen Arden Rec. I went to the pool party because I was over Trisha's house that weekend. They like, damn, you know. Well, I was still little Dave back then. Say, Gogo Dave, what you doing out here? Say, my girl live in Glen Arden Apartment. Say, where? Told him the address. Say, man, we played a pool party tonight. You coming out? Say, yeah. The very next day, the pool party, Hug came and knocked on my door and asked me to come audition for Northeast. And that was in 1990.
Gotcha. And this pool party was at this point was this on par with the legendary Northeast group, the later pool parties of
no,
it was just like
no, the legendary parties were like 92, 93, 94. Them parties in 90s was starting out.
Gotcha.
You know, that was like the beginning. That's back when Northeast used to open up for Junk when we used to play at the Safari Club.
Right.
And I auditioned for Northeast and I got in immediately.
Now you auditioned as the rapper though, or because if you were okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It was I mean, even today, I'm not a lead singer, but it is some notes that I can hold, I can as a backup. So I was doing the same thing then. But by the time I went to Northeast, you know, I was already rapping $55 Motel. I done already wrote Roll with the Flow and a few other songs with Junk. So I was listed. I got moved over to the 2 mic at that time, but still can sing background a little bit.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. And so tell us about the Northeast Groovers.
So the Northeast Groovers thing, it started out a little shaky. Because back then Chris was on the cowbell. Kurt, there was a dude named Kurt. Him and Chris was sort of like best friends. And Kurt wanted to do producing. So he went to college and he left the band. Gotcha. So I told Chris he should move over to the talking position.
And Chris was Snake at this point, right?
Snake Face, yeah. And he used to play the cowbell and he used to take his shoes off every show. So it just wound up that Chris moved over to the 1, I slid over to the 2, and Hug had just got home from the Air Force from his singing. He got a full ride singing, like killing it. So Hug moved over to the singing position, and we used to just.
What was Hug doing before that? What position was he playing before that?
No, he didn't have that. He was always a singer. It was just that he was back and forth. He would come play with the band. I think, you know, when you have breaks to come home to see your family or whatever. But then eventually he stayed home and he joined the band full time. But he was there before me. Yeah,
I got you. Okay.
So now you got Chris at the 1, Deuce in the middle, and Hug at the 3, and we all used to hang together, and we used to just take a lot of our sayings and take them to practice and take them to shows, and we turn them into songs. So hit after hit after hit after hit after hit. I can't really remember what songs was first, but I think Van Damme was first. I think 20 Minutes was second. I think Water was third. And a few others, like it was just like hit after hit.
That was definitely first because I remember hearing that for the first time, and then that was really what was like, okay, these dudes are serious. Yeah, I definitely remember that being first. That was played on the radio.
Yeah, so they said, Deuce, man, you gotta write some verses to this. So I would lock myself in the room, and I wouldn't play no sports. I wouldn't go bowling. I think it took me like 3 days to write Van Damme, and wound up going to the studio and recording it, and everything just started going. Where do I want to go from here?
Let me ask you a question about this real quick, because at that time, what was, you know, Gogo doesn't have the same relationship with recording as other genres of music have with recording. So what was it at that time that was giving you guys the inspiration to want to record and to make these songs and to spend the time in the studio as opposed to just putting out a PA tape?
We were putting out PA tapes too, but we just felt that it was very necessary for us to. It was Van Damme. Van Damme did it. And then royalty checks start coming in once a month. So start doing other things for what? Then you can stick to your roots and keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
It was Van Damme. Like, so I think if Van Damme wouldn't have turned out the way it did, maybe we would have went another route. But because Van Damme got us in colleges, it got us in Sitwell Friends where the president's daughter goes.
Yep.
Got us commission checks every month. Got us Eddie Bauer coats, cars, and helped the CD sales go up. So it was Van Damme. Van Damme was the one that opened up the door and opened up the curtains and opened up the blinds and just opened up so many avenues. It was crazy.
Gotcha. And were you able to bring any of your experience with what had happened with you know, with Sardines and the Word to the Northeastern, and because you obviously had already at that point had a little experience with more exposure than just DC.
I didn't want to. I didn't want to at the time. I felt at the time, and I might have been what, 19 then, 20. I felt then that I told myself that I was going to leave Junkyard's catalog right there where it's at, and go with Northeast to open up me a brand new catalog.
Right.
I felt like it was unnecessary because Northeast and Junkyard is two different bands anyway.
Yep.
So I wanted to leave that music over there and then prove to myself that I can write and make new music over here that was greater than, and just show the growth, you know?
Right. No, I don't mean take the music or take the verses or anything. I just mean take the experience that you had from being in a recording studio with.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
oh,
and
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
that from I assume that the other guys hadn't had that experience yet.
Yeah, so when they came in, when they sent Hug to knock on my door, all that came from the years that they saw me down Safari Club, and the you know, the music that I produced as a youngin', you know, and wrote as a youngin'. So that's kind of where that came from. So they were already hip, and they didn't try to change me. I changed myself because I felt myself getting older. So the things, you know, it's almost like when you're 15, you don't do the things you did when you was 10.
Right.
When you're 25, you don't do the things you did when you was 20.
Right.
So I was growing, and I was growing with my music. And then I started hanging with D Floyd, because D Floyd used to live down there by Jimmy's Crab House, and he used to sneak me in the black hole with him. So I used to see him working the walls and seeing the crowd going crazy. So that kind of inspired me to have my own hits. I'm like, man, I can rock a crowd like this, you know?
Right.
So everything just kind of tagged into each other.
So where did the name Geo come from?
So Chris started calling me Geo because if you listen to Sardines, it say a go-go day. Oh, I think you better get them good, right? Yep. You better eat them. Hey. So my name was Gogo Dave in Junkyard and Southeast days as I was playing with Northeast. I mean with Junkyard. Chris didn't. I told you we was always making up stuff. So they said they didn't want to call me Gogo Dave because that's the Junkyard Gogo Dave, and we got a new Gogo Dave. So they took the Geo. They took the Geo off of Gogo, and that's where Geo came from. Okay,
gotcha. I thought maybe you had like a Geo Metro or something back then, and that's where it came from.
I wished I did. It was I remember well. It was a white Toyota Tercel. That was my first car, and it had a dent in the hood.
Well, my first car was a 1975 Dodge Dart, so you still had one up on me.
Hey, but, man, if you getting around, you getting around. A lot of youngins was on the bus.
True indeed. No,
it took $9 to fill my tank up.
yeah, indeed. Okay, so what did you learn like up to that point? Yeah, you had worked with two really strong managers, Pearl and Mo.
Yeah.
What did you learn from them in terms of just being successful at this game?
Mo was like a strict father that penalized you for doing wrong because he wants you to be great. Miss Pratt is a mother that will still take you shopping if you came home with a bad report card. But if you came home with a bad report card again, she'll cut you off.
Gotcha.
So analogy wise, I guess that's the best way I can sum it up. She took care of us so much. She did so much for us. You know, she made sure we ate. She paid people's bills when they was late.
Yep.
Put cars in people's name.
Yep.
And we couldn't take our cell phones in the basement. We all had dirty boots that we would change into, and you got to leave your cell phone or your pager and the basket at the door. You couldn't the basement. That's where well, straight from the basement. You see how bad the basement looked?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that encouraged us to work. So while the music section was in there working on music, me, Hug, and Chris would be out front working on steps, even in the snow.
Yep. No, yeah, we had Kyrie on, or I had Kyrie and I had Jeff on already, and they both talked about the basement and the flooding and
the molding. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had low. I think this is part of the reason for this series because I think that stuff is really important. I had Lil Chris from TOB on yesterday, and I was talking about how when I first put Mambo Sauce together, I put us in. Mike Whitehead, Mike, keyboard player from Backyard, used to have a spot over top of Mirrors rehearsal spot on New York Avenue, and it was just a big, huge concrete room.
Yeah.
And it sounded like shit because all the sound was bouncing all over the place.
Right.
Yeah, and the back line was janky as shit. But I was like, listen, if you guys can sound good in here, then you can sound good anywhere. And I feel like that, like everybody that I've interviewed, that says when they first started out, they were rehearsing. Not only were they rehearsing in shitty conditions, but they were rehearsing 3, 4, 5 times a week for 4, 5, 6 hours at a time.
Absolutely.
As opposed to now, when people are rehearsing like once a week, maybe 2 hours, and you really only get an hour in because half the band is late to rehearsal. You know what I'm saying? So
you know how I go.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just saying, I feel like that's really important for people to listen to. If anybody that is, wants to be in a successful go-go band or do something successful with go-go, just keep in mind that all these guys that you look up to, when they started, they were standing on cinder blocks so they didn't electrocute themselves while they were rehearsing and still had to do it 4 or 5 times a week. You know what I mean? So, those are important lessons. And I think that we get older, and most people in go-go are older now, and, they aren't willing to, of course, you're not going to put that same amount of work as you did when you were 12 or 15, but
yeah,
I think the amount of the level of work ethic has dropped so far that I think that's the reason why, go-go is not as popular. One of the reasons why go-go is not as popular as it used to be. But anyway, okay, so we're in the Northeast Groovers era now, and you have you say you started hanging out with Donnell Floyd. How did that end up materializing later on in life?
It was, we used to hang out musically, but me and Chris and Gogo and L and all of us, that's where the bowling alley crew came from, because we used to go to the bowling alley and we used to gamble all night long. I remember working, my first job was at Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and I remember quitting my job because I was making so much money with Northeast, and I was making so much money from the bowling alley, winning the pot games. It wasn't no need to go to work, and I was tired going. I couldn't go to work because we'd leave out like 6, 7 in the morning, stop at White Corn to get some food. I got to be to work at 8. It ain't gonna happen.
Well, that brings up a question I was planning on asking later, but it segues in nicely to what you said. You don't need to get too specific, but if you could just give a roundabout number of what percentage, because you're one of the few people that's been in almost every top band in the city.
Okay.
So my question is, for what percentage of that time were you making your full-time living just from playing in the band? You don't have to say which specific band or whatever, but over the, whatever 40 years you've been in the game, what percentage of that time has it been a full-time position?
I would say maybe like 2 years. I've always, well, let me say this. When I got in my 20s, so my 2 boys, right? So my junior, Lil Dave, is 27 now. I had my first child when I was 21. Up until that time, I was wilding. I was having fun, staying up late, rocking in fitness. When Lil Dave came, that's when I started the career thing. Like I always had multiple incomes coming in. So I would say up until I turned 21, because I had no responsibilities.
Right.
So I was mature enough at 21 to know that I need to I need to be more responsible. Because I had a lot of fun, man. I had a lot of fun. But it was time to grow up. And I knew it was time to grow up because I had my first apartment when I was 13. I've been out on my own since I was 13. So go ahead. I'm listening.
No, the reason I asked that is because there's a young lady. Did you watch the documentary on the TV One documentary?
Yes.
So there's a young lady on there named Natalie Hopkinson. She's actually going to be on the show in 2 weeks, I think, August, end of this month. And she says something that kind of struck me. She's a really smart lady. I don't know if you know her. I don't really know her, but she said something that really struck me, which is that go-go is, or if you compare go-go and hip hop has, and I'm not quoting her directly, but the gist of it was that hip hop has sort of sold out to the white corporate structure. And that's the reason why it's so successful. And that go-go is sort of like, is the place where it's a black economy where the black dollar circulates. And to me, I would love it if that were true in terms of the go-go side, but I know that most people in go-go are like you. They don't make their full-time income off of go-go. You know what I mean? So to me, that just seems like it sounds great. And I like the idea if it were true, and I'm saying this obviously as a white person, I would like for it to be that the case and not to be attached to the white corporate structure, the oppressive structure. However, I just don't think that's true. Most people in go-go don't do go-go as a full-time job. And so that's, what I mean? So that's why I just wanted to get that out there, is that, you're literally one of the legends of go-go who has played in all of the top bands who were at their peak at the time when you were in the band, and you still needed to have a job. So that to me doesn't speak of a booming economy when the people that are very successul in it still need to have a full-time gig. And so
let me I think I'm gonna answer this in a two-part answer. Okay. First of all, did I say I had 2 boys or 3 boys? I meant to say 3. Did I say 2?
Yeah, you said 2, but yeah,
it's 3. It's one in Florida that is doing the damn thing. That's my bad. So
he doesn't see this video and you just forgot all about it.
I thought I said 3, but it's but okay, but that's straightening it. It's 3. They know who they are. Right. So the first thing is that you don't have to. Some of us don't have to work. Let me say that.
Right.
Some of us make enough where we can live off go-go.
Right.
Some of us. The ones that complain that go-go don't make enough money is because you don't generate enough money. Mm-hmm. First of all. Second of all, go-go doesn't have benefits.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
The third thing is, and I'm gonna say this based on my experience, I don't think go-go is based on the black population and the hip-hop is on white. It's just that every time the producers came up to go-go bands, right? Mm-hmm. They tried to break them up and take people who they wanted. They don't want to pay 10 and 12 people.
Right. Well, that's
the experiences that I had. And I know that's the experiences that EU had.
Yeah, well, 100%. 100%. So I'm not saying that there is nobody in go-go that doesn't make a full-time living out of it. And I'm not criticizing anybody that doesn't. Don't get me wrong at all. I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that to sort of, I think there's sort of this fantasy that go-go is just this self-sufficient culture that just supports everybody in that's in the bands. And I just know that the case from knowing almost everybody in every band and knowing that 99% of them have jobs, which is something wrong with. I'm just saying,
jobs or careers.
Well, either one. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just
they get up in the morning, huh?
right. That don't just play music for full time. But conversely, I also work with a lot of artists in other genres. And I used to run entertainment at the casino, and I was booking go-go bands there, but I was also booking country bands and 80s cover bands and rock bands and Michael Bolton. I know how much I paid Michael Bolton. I know how much I paid Rick Springfield. I know how much I paid Boys to Men. And it's more than it's a lot more than what go-go bands are making.
That's because they're national acts.
Exactly. But that's
they're national acts. That's just like Big G. Mm-hmm. Big G is not a go-go guy. Big G is a national act. So his check is going to be different.
Yep. But that's my point, is that there are a multitude of reasons why that is the case. But part of the reason for this show for me is to try to, I think a lot of it has to do with a sort of a mentality that we have that, well, this is just go-go. This is how we do it in go-go. And there's a lot of, and I want to ask you about this too, because, I'm sort of interrupting your story, but you've pursued an independent rap career. Sometimes I remember I did a couple of shows with you that was not a go-go band. It was your hip hop thing. Yeah. And there does seem to be a prevalent theme, not just with you, but almost everybody in go-go, that go-go is just to make some money. But I'm really working on this hip hop thing or this R&B thing or this other thing that I feel like really has more of a chance to succeed. And I feel like that's not the only reason, but one of the reasons why go-go doesn't go any further, because we sort of have this, it's like a limiter in our brain that says go-go can only go this far. And so there's a separation between the way we treat our go-go projects and the way we treat our projects in other genres that may have had more success with other people. You see what I'm saying?
I see exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. So what is it? I don't know what your goal was for the hip hop thing. Were you doing that to try to become like a national act with that, or were you just doing it just to have something to do?
I felt at the time that it was time for me to open up a new challenge, because I felt like I killed. When I say killed, I mean as in I did a great job. Right. I felt like I killed JY. I felt like I killed Northeast. And at this time, I'm hot as fish grease with RE, like hit after hit after hit after hit. So I wound up recording up at Spine Hitters, and Mo Chips was there. And Mo Chips. So I didn't know that Bread, our producer, had invited Chips up there. Chips had me thinking that he just got finished recording. All the time he was coming in there to listen. So when I finished recording, I was knocking out like 2-3 songs a day. So when I finished recording the first 2, we all ordered some food, and that was my first time meeting him. And this was 2008. And he said, bro, he said, man, I gotta tell you something. I was like, what? He said, man, I ain't just got finished recording. He said, I want to see how you did in the booth. Because a lot of go-go people, they fail in the booth. Singing, R&B, rapping, lyrics, beats. He said, man, you got my vote. So I let him on the next song. And we've been like this ever since.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, so we sort of skipped over. So how did the RE as much as you feel like telling, why did the Northeast thing end, and how did the RE thing begin?
To me, I think the Northeast thing kind of got a little rattled when Miss Pratt died. Kyrie had moved to Atlanta, and people were just
I'm talking about the first time when I'm talking about the first time before. I'm not talking about the 2009. I'm talking about when you were with, weren't you with Rasmus before that?
I went to Rasmus in 2010.
Really? I guess I had my but you weren't there, because I was with Northeast in 2000 or end of 99 to 2001 before we turned into solo. So I guess we got to go back to 911, but you were already gone from Northeast then.
Yeah.
We weren't in the band.
I was still, at that time, I was in a transition because I was doing shows with Northeast still, but I was playing with RE the second half down the Ritz. So I was like the stinky dink, the stinky dink to Rare Essence, because I would come the second half when Northeast shows was over.
Gotcha.
Because Northeast shows was over at 2, RE was over at 3. So we would always go see RE. And then me and Donnell, we wrote What Nigga What. And that was another hit that came. And then Hood Rats came, me and Kim. So they would the hits was just coming back to back to back.
Right.
And Northeast kind of faded out and RE was getting hotter. The people that was coming to see Northeast, they wasn't coming till 2 o'clock no more. They was already at the other shows. So that kind of faded out, and that's how I transitioned and went over there. So I was like the stinky dink to RE, because I remember going to A&T with them, and it was a falling out with the band, and then we had a real big meeting. And Donnell said he's leaving. He wants to start 9-1. He wants to take me with him. Woo, woo, woo. We talked about it. I had another meeting with RE, so I wound up leaving. And then that's when 911 came. Then the trade winds came. And here come All the Brown, All the White. Here come another hit. And then here go the dance that goes with it. You know what I'm saying? So trade winds sold out now. Other shows sold out on the road. So everything was like I was like a bouncing ball, like meow 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 meow. But everything was, it was no gaps. Everything fell right into each other. Right.
Well, so after solo, I left, because that's when I moved to, because I didn't want to just be in a cover band. So I left and went to Vegas, and then I went to LA, and then I came back in 2003, and that's when I started putting Marble Sauce together. And I was playing with the What Band for a little bit at that time. I don't remember the exact timing, but I don't remember who were you with. I don't remember who you were with at that point.
I was with RE. I was with RE. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So that's
at that point I was with RE full time.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. I remember that. And then when did we get Northeast back together? Was that 09?
Yeah, somewhere around 09. Somewhere around there, because I remember we used to be at Club Elite every Sunday night or Thursday nights. Yeah. Even before that, I remember I think we had a meeting at Marigold's, and I remember that you kind of got forced to be the lead talker because you didn't really want to do it. And, yeah, I was kind of doing like the 1 and the 2, man, but I was getting one check though.
Well, you had a bad manager, you know. That was the problem. So 2000. I remember when I left was when we played down Charles County, and they beat the shit out of that security guard to like within an inch of his life.
Yeah.
And at that point, I just was like, man, I'm too old for this. Like, I don't really want to be around this anymore. And it's too much for me. Wow. And I don't really remember what happened after that because I wasn't there anymore. So what do you remember what happened from there after that?
I mean, you know, we were shuffling through band members, you know, people had different agendas. And then I was trying to stay loyal to the band, but then because remember I went to RE in 2010. So I had RE on my line, and I was like, man, why do I have to keep struggling with this when I can go over here and it's stable? You know, so it was I was trying to hang in there as long as I could before the branch popped.
So you went back to RE after you were?
Yeah, I went back full time. This was full time. So this when all the hits started coming again. This when we had Icon sold out. We had Icons, Zanzibar, all man, everything. That's Uptown Promotions. They had everything on lock. So we was killing everything.
Gotcha. I thought that was earlier. I could be wrong. I don't know. We're both old, but
damn.
Okay. Well, some of us are older than others, but we won't get into that. So when did the Junkyard thing pick back up again? How did that?
2019. So I went 3 years of not even playing with a band. I was just hosting.
I remember that. I went
3 years of just hosting. I didn't want to play for a band. I just wanted to do my own thing and just hit the refresh button for myself. And I wound up going back to Junkyard. Junkyard had a party at Mixx that I was hosting. And I remember going up to Bug saying, man, I want to come back home. He said, what? I said, man, I'm ready. I want to come back home. He's like, you sure? He said, all right, we're going to talk about it. And maybe like 2 months later, I was back in the band.
Well, so let me back it up a little bit before that. So you say you wanted to host because you didn't want to be in a band anymore. And what was the motivation behind that? Because really what I'm trying to get to is like the overall theme of the show is why can't we ever figure out how to make this shit work? Why do people go from band to band? Why is it always such a negative situation all the time? You know what I'm saying? And is there anything that we can do to fix that, to be more successful as go-go artists? Because like I've explained before, I booked, I'm an agent. I've been an agent now for the past 3 years where I'm booking bands across the country, across the world, actually. I've worked at the casino where I book bands into the casino. I've been a promoter. I've done other things like that. I've booked all kinds of stuff. And there still is not any form of music in the entire world that I've ever heard of that has more energy than go-go and it has a better live experience when it's done right. But we can't seem to get out of our own way.
It's not that though. See, the thing of it is what people fail to realize is so it's a lot of, sometimes people can't make it work in go-go because a lot of people are not trademarked. A lot of people doesn't run the band like a business, right? But in the same vein, the same people that be saying, the same folks that say, man, why the band members can't get it together? Why they can't do this? Let me see your resume for the job that you work at, and let's see how many jobs you had. It's the same thing. Right. Do you have everybody that's talking that says something about why a band member can't sit still or whatever, why they can't work? The same way you're not at your last job. Post your resume and let's see how many bands let's make this relevant to the jobs that you've done, the colleges you went to that you transferred to. Let's make this relevant to bands. Let's see how many bands you played for.
Right. Well, don't mistake what I'm saying. I'm not criticizing you or anyone else for band hopping. I'm just saying.
Well, let me get right there. I don't call it band hopping. I call it being talented enough to be in another band. Because a lot of band members can't make it with another band. So I don't band hop. I stay there until it's the same thing when NBA players get traded. LeBron was in Cleveland, left and went to Miami, went back to Cleveland, now he in LA. Is he a basketball? Is he a ball hogger? Is he a ball hopper? He's doing what's best for him.
Right. Again, I mean, I played with Occupation. I played with OP Tribe. I played with Northeast Grooves. I played with I played with Solo. I filled in with Backyard. I'm not criticizing it at all. I played with a lot of bands too.
I'm speaking in the terms of why this show right here is relevant. You said it's the title of the show or something to the effect of why we can't make this shit work, right?
Yeah, on an international level. That's what I'm talking about.
On an international. Well,
not about. Yeah, I didn't mean to confuse.
Okay.
It's not about why bands don't stick together or anything like that. It's about why is it? I guess really the best way I can sum it up is You got artists like Shy Glizzy, Rico Nasty, Zan Man, Logic that have all come out within the last 10 years. All are on major labels. All are, you know, prior to COVID were touring successfully. And, you know, by all, and of course, everybody, you know, you peek through the veneer at anybody's career, and nothing is right at all times. You know what I'm saying? So I'm sure they got shit with them too. All I'm saying is that go-go is the most powerful music that I've ever been exposed to, ever. And I think anybody that's ever seen it live feels the same way. So my question is, why am I paying Michael Bolton $125,000 to perform a show, but not Backyard? That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? And the reason is because people will pay a significantly higher ticket price to see Michael Bolton perform because he has hits that have been on the radio, and so all over the world. And so all I'm saying is why can't go figure out how to make hits that play all over the world? I guess is that's what I'm saying. That's the point. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I can't speak for everyone else. I just feel like I've made hits that I've heard in North Carolina, that I've heard in Syracuse, but we don't have major labels to push it.
Why do you think that is?
Because they don't want it. I told you this about an hour ago.
Yep.
They don't. What I've experienced is they don't want 10 and 12 people.
Yep.
They want 4.
Yep.
And if you're not willing to break up your band, then everybody go home. It's just that.
So why can you start a go-go band with 4 people?
Hell no.
Why not?
You got 4 people on the front line.
Why?
Because do I really have to answer that? And you got a go-go history. Do I really have to answer that?
I'm serious. I literally I think that's crazy to me. I don't understand why there's 4 people on the front line.
If you got 3, listen, you got drums, right? You got congos, you got rototoms, you got a lead guitar, a bass guitar, and you got vocalists. You got a talker that doesn't rap. You have a rapper that can't talk. And you have a rapper and a talker that can't sing.
What if you have
a singer that can't do those other 2? So you need everyone that is go-go.
Right.
That's why they don't consider Black Alley a go-go band. Because they don't have because they feel that they don't have all the go-go band components.
Right, but who's they?
They are the people, they are the people that's talking. They are the producers. They are the promoters. They are the fans. They are the agents that's booking shows. They're not gonna put Black Alley with Junkyard. They're gonna put Black Alley with Scooby and Kim.
Right.
That's how it's been broke down now.
Right, but I guess what I'm saying is everybody that you just explained. I'm talking about on a national, international level. Everybody that you just pointed to that said today is on a local level. There's no
Teddy Rileys. There's no Puffy Combs. There's no major promoters with record labels or what's my man name? The nerd.
Pharrell.
Yeah, they don't want a go-go band. They'll buy a go-go track. Now there's been Salt and Pepper didn't come and get Junkyard. They used the word. Nelly didn't go get Chuck Brown. He used Bustin' Loose.
Right.
They don't want to pay 10 flights, 10 hotels, 10 meals,
right,
10 tour buses. They don't want to do that.
So what I'm saying is that an external problem or is that an internal problem? My question is, and I'm not saying I know the answer, I'm just asking the question. If you have, especially in today's times, now back in the 80s, I understand you can't recreate this stuff, but we're in 2020 right now. Literally, I have 4 guys producing for me right now that are doing bounce beat stuff, and you can't tell that it's not a real drummer and a real timbale player, but they're doing it on a computer. You can recreate all of that stuff live. Every major artist that you've seen in concert for the last 5 years has been playing to tracks. They might have a band, but there are tracks playing as well. So my question is, could you have a drummer that runs tracks like Stomp Dog, has a sample pad? That's one person. You have a percussionist that plays congas and timbales. There are multiple people that do it and can use a pad, BJ, for example. You have a keyboard player that plays, that can really run the entire tracks, can run the tracks for, I'm not trying to fire myself, but I don't play guitar anymore anyway, so it's fine. Guitar and bass, but all run from the keyboard and the tracks, and a vocalist. And that's, and you still,
a vocalist is not go-go.
Why?
That's not my job to know why. I didn't make it. Chuck, okay, watch this. Chuck Brown is the originator of go-go.
Right.
Chuck Brown wasn't on the front line by himself. He had 3 horn players beside him.
That's horn players, though. That's not.
Yeah, but that's still that's still the front line. Whether you sing, rap, spit, blow your nose, play the trumpet, what, you're on the front line.
That seems kind of crazy to me.
So you're
saying that a trombone player is the same as a rapper because they stand in the same place on the stage?
He still went and got Benny for the hype part, because Chuck is not a hype person. He went and got Benny for the hype. We need you for 30 minutes for the second half for the hype. And then we'll go back to beanie.
So let me ask you a question.
Everybody don't want a 2-step all night. That's not go-go.
Right, but listen, let me ask you a question. Well, first of all, this is you getting frustrated. These are the conversations that me and
every time I answer your question, you say, well, let me ask you this, like I'm not answering your question correctly. But I'm trying to pose. If it's that easy to do a go-go.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, I'm listening. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, you're saying that go-go is this specific thing. And my contention to that is, you're 32. And I had this conversation with Dig Dug with Solo too. And I said, you're Dig Dug. Go-go is whatever the fuck you say it is, because you're go-go. So my thing is that the rap shows that you and I did together, right? You could be the 1 and the 2. You already established that in Northeast Groovers, right? You're 2 people in 1, 2 positions on a traditional go-go front line wrapped into 1, right? You can talk, you can interact with the crowd, and you can rap. And you've already established that as a member of Junkyard, you should sing too, so you can at least sing a little tiny bit. That's 3 positions in 1 person.
So that means don't go get nobody else?
Well, why didn't have anybody else when we did your rap stuff? So that's what I'm asking. I'm trying to understand the logic. Like, why can't you do it?
Well, okay. Well, my question to you was, if it's that easy, why haven't you done it?
Well, I did do it, if you recall.
So what happened? Okay, tell me what happened.
Well, I will tell you what happened. The same mentality that we're talking about right now came in. Somebody texted me something. Basically the go-go mentality of, this is the way go-go is, this is the way it's always been, came into it, and it short-circuited it. But again, I'm not making an argument that I'm right. I'm just asking the question to see if there's another way to try to get to success that everybody says that they want. That's all I'm saying.
Listen,
I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I'm just asking the question.
Producers, the artists, the agents, all of them that's on that national level, they go through the same shit that we go through. It's just that they generate more money, right? Because they're a national act. They're plugged to McDonald's. They're sponsored by Mountain Dew. They sponsored by Reese's. So if one door closes, now I'm sponsored by Burger King. It's just they have a bigger platform to move on.
Right, but how did they get the bigger platform in the first place? And why?
Because they got people that's backing them that got thousands and millions of dollars. We don't have nobody backing us but us.
So anybody that's been successful and makes a full-time living off of music has a major record company backing them.
You have to be backed, and to get your product out, to get your scarves out, your ties, your you know, your T-shirts,
Mhm.
your trademark, your logos. You know, you gotta have money, or you gotta have connects for stuff like that, or you're gonna go broke trying. If you
So,
don't have anybody to get you
so
on
let
that
me ask
level,
you a question: who's responsible for coming up with that money?
who's responsible for coming up with what money? The promotional money?
Yeah, or whatever money.
Whoever has that position. Like I'm not a promoter. I'm an artist.
Right.
I don't have national act money. And
Right.
then in another vein, you have out of 10 band members, you might have 6 that's really serious. The other 4 might just want girls because he do IT in the daytime. And he make a
100%. So that just furthers my argument to cut the 6 that ain't got that want to do that.
But Gogo is a back door to Chuck Brown. If you're not doing what Chuck Brown is doing, and Chuck Brown was a national act before he passed.
Right.
He did Monique show and all that other stuff overseas and stuff like that. Why?
Right.
Because he had Tom and Becky backing him when they were a team.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't always put out money. Because I was with Becky when they split up. When I did my first 32nd Street album, I was going over there to Becky to pick my albums up myself, and I was selling them in the street like mixtapes.
Right.
That's how I made my revenue. So what I did was I would go get 2-3 cases a week. And with my fan base, I was selling my albums as mixtapes. And then I would take them to Kent Mill and buy them because that's where my barcode was at, so they can scan them. So
I want to understand that. So you were selling your tapes in the streets, taking that money to Kent Mill, buying them so that you would get the sound scan.
Exactly.
So I would just want to tell you that that's fucking genius. And so my question is, why don't go-go bands do that?
Because they're lazy. It's a lot of they're lazy. Everybody don't have the same vision. Everybody don't.
So this is that circles back to the reason why Pharrell and Rick Rubin and all those guys don't want to deal with 10-person bands, because 6 of them are just in it for the pussy and they're lazy.
Well, call it what you want.
I guess my question is it possible to create a go-go project with less people that are serious, that can still provide the sound and do smart shit like you did, hustle your shit in the streets? And let me ask you a question. When you were selling your stuff, your rap stuff, were you paying yourself out of it?
No, I was selling the CDs in the streets and in the bowling alleys, at the baseball, everywhere I be.
Right.
Hey man, I got my new album right here. Give me $15. They'll give me $15. The CD was $14.99 in the stores. The only thing I was paying out of my pocket was the tax.
Right.
So I was taking the whole. So I'll hustle up a whole. I might go in there with $500.
Right.
And here's $500. Scan me $500 worth of CDs. I'll take the CDs off the shelf and take them back and go back in the street. And I was paying the tax out my pocket all the time. I'm getting the sound scan blinks. That's how I got the #1 album in Kent Mill. And so I got on the radio.
So you were right. So you're making my point for me. So you reinvested in yourself, and in a very intelligent way, and you realized that if I take all of the money out of this situation, I'm not going to have any money left to buy my shit at Kent Mill, or to get a new photo shoot, or to buy new copies of the CD that I can sell and get them pressed up. So my question is why is it that makes sense for a rapper, 32 as the rapper, to do that, but why doesn't it make sense for Northeast Groovers or Rare Essence or whatever band you want to say to do that?
I can't answer that. I can only speak for this guy right here, 32. Right. You're gonna have to have an interview with them to find out why they not doing it. I did it on my own, but no album sells forever. So I came back with 31 plus tax. But see, the same time I did videos, I paid Wale $3,500.
Right.
To be in my DC Boys video, he was 3.5 hours late.
Yeah, he was late to the Welcome to DC remix studio session too. So
I mean, so you can ask him, why you a national act? Why do you still want your full money? But he's supposed to met me at Sabiato's at 12. He didn't get there at 3:45, and then was slow getting out the car, and then act like he was on time and still wanted his 3,500.
Well, so let me ask. So let's ask another question
So
about that.
You got a national act guy that's doing the same shit that a go-go band did. Why? Because he felt like he was on a bigger platform.
Yeah, it's called ego, and I think that's another big problem in go-go, and certainly not only in go-go. Just like you just described, it's in all other genres of music as well. But it's extremely prominent in go-go for the amount of national and international success that we've had. We have a lot of people that have, are local celebrities, but treat other people as though, they're, Elton John or something like that. And the one thing that I've noticed in, working in radio, because I used to have to deal with all the artists. So I dealt with the LL Cool J and the DMX and the Lionel Richie and all that, because I had to get them into the studio. The story that I always tell is about LL Cool J and Lionel Richie. LL Cool J was exactly on time. He was as polite to the interns as he was to the program director, the person who decides whether his music stays on the radio or not. And LL's been around for a long time and still, I think, hosted the Grammys last year. And there's a lot to be said for that. So
yeah, you can't expect everybody everybody to have genius moves like you said, what I did. And then I help myself get royalty checks, because don't think that just because they scanning it, I'm not getting a royalty check. I was taking the money off the street, spending it at Kent Mill, spending the tax out my pocket, and I still was getting a royalty check, and I dumped it into my second album. Did videos, paid Wale, I did, and all of that. But you're not gonna always have the LLs. You're gonna get the grimy dudes that's gonna eat in your studio and lead a steak and cheese wrapper and a soda on your desk for you to get it.
Right. So that's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm trying to get to the root of, though. See, because people in other genres have some of these same problems as well, but they still seem to be able to make it work. I'm just trying to identify and figure out the reasons why we can't seem to make it work, and to try to use, like, the reason I do this show is for people like you that were successful in doing what you just described, to tell other people, hey, this is what I did. I spent my own money to reinvest in myself because I believed in myself and I thought I had a good product. And some people don't think that way. So that's the whole purpose of this show, is to try
those are the people that got to get up first thing in the morning. I don't, but I do.
Right.
It's just different. It's just different strokes for different folks. Like the Bobby Brown story. Look how many times they fumbled and crumbled. You see what I'm saying? But they still had major labels giving them second and third chances. We don't. Once we fold, we dead. And it's on to another one. You got somebody like Bobby Brown. Bobby Brown was my man. Man, Bobby Brown fucked that place up, man. And then guess what he did? He went solo. Why? Because he had major people that had sponsorship with Coca-Cola. They flying him out to Disney. They had play to keep him relevant. Once we get kicked out of the Zanzibar or the Fur or the trade winds, we dead. We dead. We don't have them connects. And sometimes those connects don't come from the artist. It's a favor for a favor.
It's always a favor. It's always about relationships. Yeah. And that's something that I've talked about on this show as well. People look at relationships as if it's a bad thing. People say, oh, well, he only got that because he knew such and such and such and such. Well, let
that be the reason.
Yeah. That's the game. You have to learn, you have to, and it's not just about relationships. It's not about just knowing somebody. It's about knowing somebody and having value that you can.
Well, that was my point. I said Bobby Brown, he was a bad boy, but he tore New Edition up. But because he still had talent and he still had hits that people would pay to see. Yeah, but if you pay attention, the venues were smaller. So they wasn't putting them in the Capitol Center.
Yeah, well, that's
they putting him in Maryland Live.
Right. No, that's 100%. I mean, that's
So
what it is.
He still was eating, but also they put him in smaller venues, but they also didn't have to pay 4 other people.
Right. Well, when you're, I mean, I have a little expertise in that. It's not necessarily about paying the people. It's about you get paid based upon how many tickets you can sell. And Bobby Brown can't sell as many. I mean, maybe he can now, but at the time couldn't sell as many tickets as New Edition.
Well, yeah, that's my point.
So yeah, so you got to step down. It's the same thing like Dave Grohl, who was the drummer for Nirvana, which was the biggest band in the entire world. But then he started a new band called Foo Fighters, where he was the singer, and he had to start all over again and get in a shitty van and drive around and go play in a bunch of little tiny clubs, even though he was playing the stage.
And guess what? That's the go-go version band of him.
What you mean?
When you fall off, you gotta get in that little shitty car and drive yourself around. But when you got the people that run that tour bus, or you got the people that got the relationships with Coke, Pepsi, Disney, Wheaties, they got them connects. So now your flight leaves at 2, and the bus will be waiting on you to get in Miami at 5:30. Not because you're really talented, not because you're talented. 60% could be your talent. The other 40% is because of who you work for, who you with, who you signed to. And we're not signed to nobody.
So I guess what I'm trying to get to is your contention is only because we have too many people in the band. And so my question is, can we make a smaller band? And you're saying no. So I guess the answer is that just Gogo can never make it any bigger because we can't have a smaller band.
If you can what's the word I'm looking for? If you can convince, like Puffy was saying, making it a band, right? He went and got 4 or 5 artists that did the when they had the baseball bat, Bad Boy this and Bad Boy that.
Yep.
He probably could have picked up a band if what if Puffy, Nerd, and Teddy Riley and another producer, Jermaine Dupri, say, you know what? We're gonna go to DC and find us a go-go band. Right? This question wouldn't even be relevant. They're not looking for go-go bands, man. They're looking for tracks.
I understand that. My point is we can either say, oh, well, nobody on a bigger level wants a go-go band, so we just throw our hands up and play at fucking Fast Eddie's for the rest of our life. Or we can say, let's look at the reasons why none of these companies want a go-go band and fix those problems. And that's what I'm trying to get to.
Well, maybe that's what you need. Maybe that's what your next podcast need to be. You need to sit down with the people that can make them. Because guess what?
I already know the answers. But they're not going to come on my YouTube show.
Remember was that the BET Awards when Funk and Sugar was up there, right?
Yep.
Was that a go-go band behind them?
I'm not sure. I don't think so.
No.
Right. Okay.
They just taught them the music. That was a house band.
Okay.
So we just gonna fly Bear. All we need is Bear and Funk. Right. We already got our house band. It's almost like you having your own house system. We don't need no system. We got a house system in here. We don't need no system.
Right.
They got a house band. That wasn't Rare Essence, and that wasn't EU. When I played with RE, when we did them 2 shows at the VMAs with Luda, right? He used the band, but guess where me and Shorty was at?
In the dressing room?
In the hotel. Because he had his own lyrics. He didn't need us.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. They pick and choose what they need you for. And if they don't need you for the house band, they got their house band already. And if he already got his own lyrics and he got his own hype man, White Boy didn't even have a mic that night because guess why? Because he was a guitar player. He ain't saying nothing on the mic.
Right, but to me, that's a different situation because that's an artist hiring the band to be their backup band. That's not the same thing as Rare Essence performing on the VMAs as Rare Essence.
Well, it wasn't Rare Essence. Rare Essence consisted of me and Shorty. We play for Rare Essence.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what he did was he handpicked. Remember, I said they pick and choose who they want. So I want you, 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 and I want you.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm gonna do is with y'all two is because I got my own lyrics. Y'all can still come out here for the vacation, but you can't come backstage.
Well, I mean, I think that's pretty cool of them to fly. They paid for you to come out. That's pretty cool.
I mean, I didn't say it wasn't. I'm just telling you what happened.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. They pick and choose what they want. Sometimes it's 4, sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 6, but it's never the full band. And guess who, when it was the full band, it was Spike Lee, right?
Yeah.
And when it was the full band, it was Junkyard when we were signed to Def Jam.
Right, because y'all made records.
We were signed to Def Jam. We were label mates with LL. We hung out with Salt and Pepper. We hung out with them, but we couldn't do too much because we were kids. The only one hung out with them after hours was Bugs and Pratt because they was 18 and over.
Right.
Everybody else had to go back to the tour bus.
Mm-hmm.
But we were signed, which means we had major labels doing that stuff for us.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I got these kids that rock. Next thing you know, we signed. We go do Saturdays and Polka Bees, and the word was wrote and written about Ronald Reagan. That's when Reagan was making bombs. Yep. That's where that came from. So now we on a major label. We doing Apollo. We're doing Apollo. We in Boston. We in such and such. We in such and such. And it was because we were signed to Def Jam. We had a major label backing us.
Right, but that was the 80s. It's 2020. You don't need a major label anymore. That's all I'm saying.
You say you don't?
No, you don't.
Okay.
Well, the rapper, he doesn't have a major label.
I don't know what to tell you, but I'm gonna tell you right now, Junkyard kicking ass and taking names.
I'm not surprised by that at all. Junkyard has never stopped kicking ass.
And I've been back with Junkyard since 2019, and I wrote 8 originals already. That's in full rotation.
That's great.
And ain't nobody.
Why do you think I'm arguing with you? I'm not arguing with you.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just having. I just got valid points, like you got valid questions.
Right.
But I'm just saying that. I mean, you got valid questions. I got valid answers because sometimes I know stuff because I do my research on it. Sometimes I know stuff because I see it and I've been in it. 85% of the stuff that I'm talking to you about right now, I was in it and I seen it happen. Right.
Gotcha. Do you think there was anything that, just so everybody knows, this is how we always talk to each other, so don't be alarmed. Do you feel that in all of the situations that you've been in, anything that there was anything that the band could have done to, obviously every band you've been in has been hugely successful in DC. I'm specifically talking about outside of DC. Do you feel
you could have done, or what? North Carolina. You can say from here to Carolina.
I'm sorry?
I say you can say from DC to Carolina.
Well, let's just say the Mid-Atlantic. Bands play from New York, from Philly to North Carolina, with fairly regularity, but not much on the West Coast, not much in the South, not much.
That's why I said Carolina.
Yeah, sure. So, do you feel like there was anything that bands could have done differently, or you feel that all of the things that held Gogo back from international success were external?
It's always things that can be done differently.
Right.
You don't know what's going to go wrong until you try it, and then if it works, you say, man, that was a brilliant idea, dude. That was genius.
Right.
But then if you try something and it don't work, you'd be like, you fucking idiot. So you don't know now unless you try. Listen, nobody knows how big something is going to be until you drop it.
I agree, 100%.
Until you drop it. Jay-Z dropped one of Jay-Z is my fan. My little man, my 6-year-old. His name is Carter because his mom is a Beyonce fan, right?
Jay-Z fan, I know.
And that's my man. Don't say nothing bad about Hov around me. You got to.
Hey, you would not about me. He's my favorite too. He's my favorite too. Yep.
And that's why we named him Carter, right?
Yep.
Jay-Z dropped one of the biggest records he ever had. He sold 1.3 million, right? Soulja Boy dropped. Now watch me, yo. Now watch me, yo.
Yep.
Soulja Boy, tell him. And sold 5.6 something million copies, something stupid like that.
Yep.
But nobody knows until you drop it.
Yep.
Like
so what I'm hearing
we talking about Soulja Boy, but we're talking about a different of 3 million records.
Right.
That's crazy.
So what I'm hearing you say is, if go-go bands tried more to put out more records, then they would have then obviously, I mean, it's common sense. I agree with you. You put out more records, you have a chance for more of them to hit. And obviously it's difficult for go-go bands to record because it's expensive, because you have to have a whole band. So we've already established that having a go-go band with 4 members, you don't think would work. Do you think you could record with a smaller amount of people though? And then
it depends on what sound you want. If you want it full, and you want it thick, and you want that go-go sound, no. But if you're trying to cut corners and you say, you know what, I'm gonna try to drop this full band joint and let me see what happens. And then again, if you sell Soulja Boy numbers, they gonna be like, man, I should have thought of that shit. Man, Deuce talked about that on the podcast.
Right.
But then if it don't make it past the shrimp boat, you'd be like, you the fucking idiot. I told you that shit wasn't gonna work.
Yeah.
It's just that simple, man. I had something on my brain just now that I wanted to say, and it slipped my mind while you was. Hopefully it'll come back. That's
because your tie is too tight and it's cutting off the circulation to your brain.
Actually, it's loose, but it's after hours. Actually, it's loose. And I knew I was going to loosen it up because I knew you was going to try something. I'm going to email you something, though. I'm going to get you back. I'm going to email you something. I ain't even going to do it in public.
That's cool.
But
I was waiting for you to fry me the whole time. You haven't even said anything yet. I'm surprised.
I'm trying to. Damn, I had it right here, and it was so valid. Hopefully it'll come back, man. But you know, man, it's just difficult, man. You know, it's difficult to be honest, it's not easy pleasing these people, man. It's not easy to say, get your hands in the air with the AAA, get them up, and a whole how with the 80. Like, that's not easy.
All right.
You know how many rappers quit trying to play for a go-go band? Yeah. What's the boy name? He say holy. Used to be with Dipset. Cameron.
Yeah.
Jay-Z asked Wale, how do you rap over that shit? Wale told me that while we was in the studio. He said, man, how do you rap over that shit, man?
Yep.
Some vocalists don't even have the glands to rap over top of a 10-piece band. You know? And it's just the luck of the draw, man. It's just the luck of the draw. You can keep trying. Oh, there you go. There it is. Look. The other thing is, all the program directors are not from DC. So they either don't understand go-go or don't like it. Or you got to have some crazy numbers like Hello to break through regular rotation. And Hello didn't blow up until they did it live. It was doing great, but it wasn't at no cookouts or nothing.
Right.
Hello is at cookouts. Right after back, side to side, round and round, wing it back. Yeah, it's at cookouts. And old people is dancing to it.
Yep.
But again, man, it's about having that backing. Northeast did so much better when we had a record on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
Backyard number went up when Hello was on the radio. They number went up immediately. They shows went up because they're on a national level now.
Well, they didn't play that. They didn't play Hello anywhere, but the Mid Atlantic, did they?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I know their numbers went up, and I know the show. My business partner that's listening right now, I know she's from Carolina, and I know we went to St. Louis to get trademark, and I know we heard Hello in St. Louis when we was at them conventions.
Oh, really? In Missouri?
Damn Skippy.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
So that's what I'm saying. Their numbers went up, and it's the radio too. The program directors ain't pushing us. They don't even know our names.
Right. Well, that's definitely
radio don't even know our names, and we've been out here longer than they've been on the radio.
Right. No, 100%. 100%. No, you're 100% right with that. I think the things that we definitely know what's wrong. All I'm trying to figure out is what can be done, because we can't change we're not gonna convince Entercom to hire a new program director because this one won't play go-go. We're not going to convince the head of Warner Music.
Well, why can't we? Why can't we have an owner that say, hey, this is DC Music. We need a new DC record every 3 months, every 4 months. And if we don't have one, close the slot. I ain't even mad if we could do that. I'd be shipping her a record every 3 days.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at least give us the chance. When we don't have when you don't have a chance, that makes people not want to try. So
no, you're 100% correct. And I think that's a huge point. But I feel like that goes back to the mentality that we were talking about earlier, that I was asking, why is it that people look at their hip hop careers in a different way than they look at go-go? And it's because you feel like in hip hop you might have a chance, whereas in go-go for 50 years there haven't been that many chances. So you're 100 million% correct in that. My question is, why aren't there chances? Is there some, person in the head of the music industry that's like, fuck go-go, we don't like go-go, we're going to shut it down?
Yeah.
You think there is? You think there's something?
What is that shit? But you came to DC to get a job though. So now I'm looking at you like it's your job to know your history while you in that city.
Right. No, I'm not talking about local radio. I'm talking about from a national internet. I don't think there's somebody like at the head of a major record label like, we don't want any go-go. They're just saying we might like that sound, but it's cost too much money to put 10 people on the road, and they don't have any hit records. And they don't have anything that sounds like what's going on right now. This is the other thing, is that when Bustin' Loose came out, Bustin' Loose sounded like the other shit that was on the radio at the time.
Yeah, but when
the bus came out,
though.
Say again?
You have to give us that platform though, and give us a chance. Like, we know better.
But listen to what I'm saying. Let me finish the point real quick. Bustin' Loose sounded like the other shit that was on the radio at the time. The Butt sounded like the other shit that was on the radio at the time. Go-Go that's coming out now doesn't sound like the other shit that's on the radio right now.
Well, maybe that's the reason.
That's a big reason.
Maybe you asking me a question that you got the answer to. But everybody is not
answering almost all of these questions, but I'm just asking you for your perspective.
But you already got the answers.
But
you're saying what I said already.
Okay.
I said this originality and it's the quality.
Okay.
But if we know that we got a chance, so I know better, right? I know better. I know there got to be something that's fire. I know it got to be something that's original. and I know it needs to sound like either 3 records that just came out.
Right.
Either Bustin' Loose, either Hello, either Bunk Bunk Bunk, Roll With It, Roll. That has a hell of a sound. Loose Booty, Junk, Old Junk, that hit hard. If it don't sound like one of them 4, don't bring it up here. I'm going to fly like a frisbee. And I agree. But when you got motherfuckers bringing quality shit up there and you still flying it like a frisbee because you from Texas.
But that's not what I'm.
You came to DC for a job and you don't know your history. That's what I got a problem with.
Right. But again, I'm not just talking about local radio. What I'm saying is,
but we have to start here.
Bustin' Loose was a national record, international record.
It wasn't a national hit when it dropped. It turned into a national hit. It dropped in DC first. They want to see you popping in your city first. Wale didn't even get on first here. He got on New York first.
I know he would complain. He would complain to me all the time that Mambo Sauce was getting more spins than him. I'm well aware.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. You have to be popping in your city first. They want to see what you're doing in your city first.
Right.
I want to see what you're doing at home.
Agree. How many records have popped in DC that have not popped anywhere else? A lot. So what I'm saying is that Bustin' Loose and the Butt both popped. You're correct, in DC first, right?
And then it went.
Then they popped nationally and internationally. But they sound. When I'm saying they sounded like the other records, I'm not saying they sounded like the other go-go records. Bustin' Loose, you could play that next to an Earth, Wind, and Fire record or a Gap Band record or whatever, and it would fit.
I'm saying the same thing. I said it got to hit hard. It's the same thing.
You were talking about.
If it don't hit hard, as soon as it come out, like I feel like bump, but. You know what I'm saying? Give it a bridge now. Everything was right here in your face. That's hitting hard. That's what I'm saying. And if the shit sound like it's way back there behind a monitor somewhere, now I agree. Get that shit out of here. But when we sending you shit, that's quality shit.
But does it sound like the other stuff that they are playing at the moment? Is my question.
It's a lot of stuff that hit that ain't sounding like nothing when it first come out. Everybody don't sound the same when they come out.
I don't mean exactly the same. I mean, does it fit within the other? Now, obviously, radio playlists are very small. Does it fit within the other 20 songs that they're playing at the time? That's all I'm asking.
You're asking a lot of. Listen. Good Lord. Every time I ask a question,
interview show.
You remix the question. We're talking about this thing hitting hard. It's a different swag being dropped every day. That don't sound like nothing because some people looking for your artist to be different. I don't want him to sound like Meek Mills. Drake don't sound like nobody. And he the biggest artist in the world. Drake don't sound like nobody. Okay. If anybody come out sounding anything close to him, they're gonna say he trying to be Drake. You see what I'm saying? So you don't necessarily have to sound like the 20 records. You just gotta, and sometimes it's about timing. Brandy didn't get on Monica didn't get on because Monica was on fire. India Ari didn't get on because Alicia Keys clogged the lane up. She beat her to it.
True indeed. Yep.
It's just different. It's timing, and it's all about who you with, and your shit gotta be hitting hard, of course. But it's more reasons why. Go-Go is not on the road. It's more reasons to that.
There's a lot of them. That's one.
If we had the Teddy Rileys, that shit gonna hit hard. If we had the P. Diddy's, that shit gonna hit hard. Because they got that motherfucking studio board that go from that window all the way over there. 64 channels.
The same one where we recorded Northeast Grooves.
Exactly.
In Baltimore. Yep.
And it hit hard. You see what I'm saying? We didn't go to anything local because it didn't hit hard. And we weren't selling for nothing that didn't hit hard.
So speaking of hitting hard, and I'm gonna wrap it up here. Based on what we were talking about earlier, when is something not go-go anymore? Like if you say Black Alley isn't go-go, what is it that makes them not go-go? I mean, I understand not every one of their songs has a go-go beat on it, You know what I'm saying? But what is the like when we were talking about earlier, and I was like, well, could you do a 4-person band? And you said that's not go-go. What's the line? What is it like? If you take this out, it's not go-go anymore.
Because the structure is different. They're 70% musical, 30% percussions. Go-go is 80% percussions and 20% musical.
So it's the percussion is what you think is the line.
It's twisted around. I mean, you got the numbers, Malachi. 80-20, 70-30.
What I'm saying, the differentiating factor, like if you don't have this much percussion, then it's not go-go anymore. So what you're saying is the percussion is what defines go-go.
Well, you can. I think they're a rock band, to be honest.
Right. I think they're Black Alley. I just was bringing them up. I'm just talking about in general. When do you say this is not go-go anymore? I use them as an example because you brought them up.
Answered that. I said whenever you are musically heavy, 70% musical, 30% percussions.
Okay, so if you're any less than 70% percussion, it's not go-go. You're an angry dude, man. I swear. All right, man. We're gonna wrap it up, man. I appreciate your time. What do you want? What do you got coming up? What do you want to tell us about? What's going on in the land of David 32 Ellis Sr.
I want to tell you that it's not go-go if it's 70% musical and 30% percussions.
Okay.
When it's supposed to be the other way around, either 75-25 or either 85-15 or either 80-20. Now, notice I didn't say 90. It shouldn't be 90% because that's too much banging.
Right.
But as long as you got a good balance of maybe no less than 80 percussions, and the other 20% is considered maybe if you want to do like you want to play some music, if you want to let your horns do something, or your singer got a couple ballads he want to sing, all that falls into the 20%. But it's crank up under it. And a cowbell, or maybe a high Congo. Bah, bah. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my definition. You ask me that's my definition of when is it go-go and when it's not. Do I like Black Alley? Yes, I do. Would I take if I wanted to take my girl out or something, would I take her to see Black Alley when we got some clothes on, a tie, and some Scooby-Doos? Yes, I will. But when I got on my Adidas sweatsuit and my polo shirt and my polo shorts, I do not want to see Black Alley when I got that on. It's different times for different things. Okay.
Gotcha. So yeah, again, I was just using them as an example. I wasn't asking you to give to talk about Black Alley, but I
like Black Alley, but I like Black Alley on for certain events. That's all. That's just like they come see us on certain events.
Right. But I'm talking about bigger than just DC. And the reason I asked this question is because people say that go-go has to be this, or it has to have a lead talker, or it has to have this many people on the front line, or it has to have this. But those same people, when they hear Jill Scott, It's Love, or A-Marie One Thing, or Beyonce, Crazy in Love, they don't have any of those things. They just have the percussion. And they say, that's go-go. Anybody?
They have the percussion, but you have Jill Scott and Beyonce singing the vocals, but you also got their background singers singing the background, which is still considered a vocalist on the front line. It's just that Beyonce is a solo artist, so the backup singers is right by the horns. But you still got 4 people on the mic.
So you can't have a band without backup singers. Okay. I got it. Makes sense. I can dig it.
Backup singers or something to back up. Don't nobody want to hear no song, no lead singer by themselves all night long. It gotta be some like Maze. Bum 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 whoa whoa. It's background. Tony.
Uh-huh.
That background's all in it. It never rains in Southern California.
Yeah, you're also quoting all songs that are 20, 30 years old. I'm talking about today.
And but you still can play them today you can still, those songs that I named, you can still play them songs at a function or a cabaret, and people gonna get up out their seat and they gonna go get on the floor.
Right. I hate to tell you, but nobody under 40 years old goes to cabarets.
Huh?
Nobody under 40 years old goes to cabarets.
Nobody go where? Nobody
under 40 years old goes to cabaret.
You lie and your feet stink. Yes, they do. Your baby don't stink right now. I got some. When I throw my cabarets right now, when I throw one, I got some 29 and some 30-year-olds that go to cabarets that don't even go to go-go's.
Got you. When you were 15 years old, a 30-year-old was like ancient.
Man, it's 2020, man. Things are different, man. Yeah. That's all it's that we can't in 2020 we can't base everything off of being 2000 or in 98, and we some of that stuff is more relevant than some of that shit that they're dropping right now that they plan and they're heavy rotation.
Gotcha.
But they got them national acts they got them national management teams that's backing them that pushes them forward. That's all.
Right. The only thing that I know from being an international agent is that I'm not signing anybody that doesn't already have something going on. So it's not like somebody just came in and was like, I'm picking you and I'm going to make you famous. That's not how it works.
Going on. You gotta have something going on, because what's going to happen is if they hear you singing in the shower, right? If they hear you singing in the shower, they're like, damn, who is that in the shower? Oh, that's my niece Yolanda. Hey, when she dry off, bring her to me. He ain't gonna do nothing but go get a song from somebody else and let her sing it, and now she sold 2 million copies.
Okay.
So you gotta have something. You gotta have something that's gonna gravitate to somebody. You can't just be walking down the street and they say, hey, what can you do? Yeah, I don't know. Look, I'm gonna find something for you to do. Get in this Benz. Come on, Malachi.
Yeah, I'm talking about even further along than that. I'm talking about somebody has to have, just like you just said a few minutes ago, you got to have some buzz going on in your own city. Exactly. But there has to be a reasonable expectation that buzz can spread outside of your city. And
you don't know until you try. It's a lot of motherfuckers. It's a lot. They thought "Taste of Your Love" was a hit after doing the butt. And they think, what happened after "Taste of Your Love"?
Right. But my point is that
he started
by the time "Taste of Your Love" came out, they had already proven that they had something going on. There are plenty of artists that get signed, have a song and it doesn't work, and then they're done.
Yeah, but what I'm saying to you is the butt worked, and then they tried "Taste of Your Love" again. It goes back to the point that I said, and we're not gonna make this relevant to EU because Bear, that's my uncle. I'm just making examples. Of course, they had to have something going on because they came from school days, right? But again, my point is, you don't know until you try it. They tried "Taste of Your Love," ball game. That's it. Now, if "Taste of Your Love" would have hit, they'd have been still out on the road. Juju went and did Grace Jones.
Yep, Slave to the Rhythm.
Slave to the Rhythm.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? But you don't know what's gonna pop until you try it. Of course, you gotta have a meal in front of me for me to taste your cooking. And you can't tell me I can sign you to a 5-year deal to my kitchen and I ain't taste none of your goddamn cooking. So of course, you gotta have something going on.
Right. I'm not disagreeing with you, but my point is, why hasn't Gogo had enough going on for somebody in the last 30 years for somebody to say, I think this can translate to Cleveland and Tucson, Arizona, and Sacramento, California. And
again, you don't have nobody that's going to stretch you out that far.
That's what I'm saying. Why not?
I don't know. I've been told you. I told you I don't know. What time is it? I told you I don't know at 6:20. You still asking me. That's my point. I'm saying, how do you get there? I told you at 620. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Jesus.
All right. Yeah. Okay. I think that was so. Yeah. So that was the last thing that I had to ask you, David 32 Gogo Dave Geo Ellis Senior. So can you please tell me?
You're still shooting that low ass gun, ain't you?
Can you tell me what you have coming up, what you are working on? What can people expect to see from you in the near and far future? What is going on with you?
So I gotta a shout out Gogo Royalty first for my man Drew.
Yeah.
Man Bill. So this is Gogo Royalty. And what me and Billy the Kid did is we created a brotherhood where you don't have to be dead. Well, you don't have to DIE for you to LIVE, which means that we started this trend where you can get your best friend on your shirt while they're alive, because everyone gets a face put on their shirt after the funeral.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is we're honoring people while we're alive. I showed you this shirt because the other two shirts I already put them in the cleaners. That got his face on them, and this is just my version for promotions. So he got a picture of me. He got this picture on his shirt in his size, and I got a picture of him. If I can, I'm trying to.
So where do I need to send my picture so you can get my shirt made?
Gogo Royalty.
I bet.
Yeah, Gogo Royalty
with a picture on your shirt.
So just anybody, your son, your daughter, your best friend, your girl. It's just a way of showing homage and respecting everybody while they're alive. And then also, so if y'all want to support that, of course we get a percentage of that for the sales. So because I did this 2-hour interview for you for free, you didn't send me no Uber Eats or nothing, but it's cool though.
GogoRoyalty.com, is that where people go to get the shirt?
Yeah, go to my man Andrew Gaskin. He's watching right now. So if y'all want to support and get y'all a shirt, they come in different colors and army fatigue, white, red, and you can pick your size and he'll ship them out.
I got it up on the screen. GogoRoyalty.com.
Yeah, GogoRoyalty.com. We're doing Mocello this weekend.
Mocello, okay. Junkyard at Mocello, yep. I had Chris on yesterday, yep.
Yeah, we're doing Mocello this weekend.
It's Mocello, man, not Mocello.
Mocello. We're doing Richmond August the 15th. We're in Richmond for the weekend. It was supposed to be in somewhere else, but they moved it because of the COVID stuff or whatever. And y'all just stay safe, man. I gotta y'all can follow me on David Ellis Senior. That's my Facebook page. I also have an Instagram page, but I don't run it. That's the same name. My twins run it on my Team 32 staff, and they relate all the messages over to me.
Well, I thought that's 32 watts or something, right?
The WTTS. Welcome to the show, and it's a TM behind it, buddy.
Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. What else? I feel like they sent over your manager sent over something, and I feel like there was something more in there that she wanted to bring up. Hold on one second. So
it's just a pearl, like scarves and stuff like that. That we have mugs and stuff like that. That it's just material and stuff like that. Stuff that people can get that. Like you say, investing in yourself and keeping your name out there with your brand.
Much respect for that.
Yeah, so she sent out some stuff from that. You should have that. If you can post that, that'd be highly appreciated. And that's about it, man. I'm direct. I'm out here. You know, I answer all my fans. I never turn my phone off. My page has been maxed out since 2008. But what I do is I call it spring cleaning, where if you send me some up-to-date requests, if I see up-to-date requests, I scroll through and I send people that haven't been active in the last 2-3 months that look like they just trying to be nosy. I get them out of there and I bring new people in.
Gotcha. That's what's up. That's what's up.
So
How do you want to be remembered? How do you want your go-go legacy to be remembered?
how do I want it to be remembered?
Yeah.
Like I cared. I think a lot of people don't care. As long as they're getting paid. I do a lot of things in the street. I just gave away a PlayStation 3 and 27 games to my Facebook friends that support me. I gave them to their kids. Last week, I gave away 35 pairs of tennis shoes to, I gave 20 to a guy that's in a domestic violence home. And I gave another 5 or 15 to another guy that was homeless. So I'm always in the community. I go to my signature line. If anybody knows me, is don't support nobody that don't support you. So I'm not one of those band members that don't come out now unless they're getting paid. You know, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart, and I've been saying it forever. I care about people's money. I care about people's time. Every time I come out, I hit the stage. It's the playoffs. It's game 7 with me. Win or go home. And I think that's a respect level. You know, that's more than anything. People gonna say what they want to say. They might say I'm the best. Might say Kyle the best. Might say Floyd the best. Might say Los the best. Might say Wale the best. As long as my name is mentioned, I feel like I won.
That's what's up, man. Well, on that note, I appreciate you taking your time, man. Thank you very much. Thank you for wearing your tie for me today. I really appreciate it.
I didn't wear this for you. I wore it for my career that I go to before.
Just let it go for once. Just fucking let me have it one time.
Man, you've been shooting at me since 6 o'clock. What you talking about? I didn't shot at you not once. You shooting that little ass gun off Harlem Night since 6 o'clock.
Shot you in your pinky toe.
God damn.
Hey man, I love you, man. It's always right. I'll talk to you soon. All right.
I needed that up-to-date argument because I ain't seen you in a long time.
I know you got to get the blood pressure up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Get a little exercise. You can be ready to do your dance steps this weekend. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
All right, man.
Okay, bro.
All right. Yeah. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate it. That was the one and only David 32 Ellis. Oh, that's the wrong banner. Sorry. Do me a favor, please. Go down to the bottom and click subscribe and click the little bell icon, and that will let you know when the next episodes are coming up. I don't remember who's coming up next week, except for I do know we have Rasan Fuller, who's the manager for Backyard. So we're going to have him on next week. And thank you again to 32. Thank you to everybody for tuning in. Please subscribe so you can see more episodes. All of the previous episodes, or pretty much all of the previous episodes, should be up. We've got, Big Tony from Trouble Funk. We've got yesterday was Lil Chris from TOB. I've got the senior vice president of radio promotions for Atlantic Records. I got guy from the senior national director of promotions, radio promotions for Interscope Records, and then of course Jammin' Jeff and Kyrie and all kinds of people. So just make sure you check it out. There's all kinds of episodes for any flavor of go-go that you're into. And as always, the theme is how can we kind of stretch the genre out and get it on a bigger bigger platform. Yeah, guys, Andrew, I got you. I'm sorry, I put up the wrong thing. It's Go Royalty. Let me fix that real quick and make sure it's not just straight Go Royalty. It is. Let me get it right because I want to make sure you guys can go over there and support. They got a super dope app. It's basically like Spotify for go-go. So make sure you head over there. Go. So it's go-go-royalty.com. Drew, thanks for correcting that. Make sure you go over there and support those guys. And yeah, so people are saying, so Chuck Brown wasn't go-go, New Impressions wasn't go-go. Yeah, I was trying to get to the root of it, but that's it. Being 32, been going at it for many, many, many years. That's my man for life. But yeah, it's hard to for either one of us to get a word in edgewise when we're talking to each other, but that's how we express our friendship. So thank you again, everybody, for tuning in, and make sure you check out the previous episodes. Head over to Gogo Royalty. Oh, sorry, wrong side. Head over to gogoroyalty.com, go-goroyalty.com. You can get your shirt with your friends on. I think that's a fucking amazing idea. So kudos to those guys for that. Also, you can stream all of I have the paid app, so it's on demand. It's just like Spotify or Apple Music, but it's all GoGo. So please make sure to support the culture and check those guys out. And thank you, and we'll see you next week.